Hi, I'm Jacob Hornberger, Libertarian candidate for president. And as you can see, I'm on the road again. And so you get one of my world famous on the road commentaries. Now, I've been jesting about this world famous business, but the New York Times, I'll have you know, just wrote an article about the upcoming Libertarian Party Circus. It's coming to town, to D.C. in 2 weeks, the Trump-Kennedy Circus. And they, in the article, actually linked to my on-the-road commentary, video commentary on the circus. And then that's not all. The Washington Post wrote an article about the circus, and they quoted me as saying, well, this is absolutely abominable, which it is. I mean, the Trump-Kennedy circus is abominable. And we're going to talk about that in this commentary. I figured that there's so many rapidly developing things about this commentary that it really needs a supplemental commentary. So I'm coming back from a hike with my Princess Cassie. She's recovered from her ACL, just in case you were wondering. And so I let her off leash today out in the woods. We went to a really nice nature preserve, and she went swimming in a really nice creek there called Goose Creek, and she's having the time of her life. I mean, she hated the leash during the 3 months because I gave her nothing but controlled walks because of her torn ACL, and she would throw leash tantrums where she'd put the leash in her mouth and shake it violently to tell me I don't like this thing. And of course, she's libertarian. Who the heck likes to live their life on a leash? So I thought, okay, let me talk about the circus, and it's truly the circus is coming to town, and the circus is getting weirder and weirder by the day. So they invite Donald Trump to come and address the convention. So it starts out as a one ring circus, but now they got Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. coming in to address a Libertarian Party presidential nominating convention. So it's a 2-ring circus. If Biden comes, it'll be a 3-ring circus. I mean, this thing gets weirder and weirder and weirder. In the meantime, the whole Libertarian Party presidential race has just been subsumed. I mean, it's like shunted aside. It's like a sideshow. Y'all have been to a circus before, where in the center ring is Donald Trump, and the other center ring it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and maybe Joe Biden. But you got the sideshows. Okay, the Libertarian Party presidential campaign has become a sideshow to this convention, and it's by design. I mean, it's like totally weird. Imagine you're in a war, okay, and you're the commander-in-chief. You're the elected Libertarian president, and you get in a real war, and one of your corps commanders invites the enemy general to come into your camp and recruit your soldiers, and to give a talk to your soldiers. That would be kind of weird, right? That's what they're doing here. This is our convention. We're running a presidential campaign against these guys, against Trump, against Kennedy, against Biden. And they invite them to come in and get votes from our members, to recruit our members, to get donations from our members. The circus gets weirder and weirder and weirder by the day. Now let me put things into context, because there's something going on here. There's too much weirdness here. And I finally figured it out. That below the surface, there's something going on here. And I'm going to share that with you. It's just an opinion, but I think it's a well-reasoned opinion of what's going on here. But I'm going to share it with you at the very end, because you got to have the context of what's happening here. The overall context of why they have turned this convention into the Trump-Kennedy circus. And they're essentially shunting aside the Libertarian Party presidential candidates. It starts out last year when Angela McArdle, the party chairman, posts a tweet on Twitter, X, where she says that the reason the Libertarian Party is having such severe problems is because of the lackluster nature of our presidential candidates. That in other words, if we had a big name candidate, there wouldn't be all these severe problems. And there are severe problems. Massive diminution in donations, financial straits, cash flow problems, diminution in membership, demoralization, lack of enthusiasm, strife, conflicts, lawsuits, pretty bad stuff. But she says it's because of our presidential candidates. Now, I took umbrage at this, not just personally, but I didn't like her saying this about any of the candidates. You know, I mean, my opponents in this race know that I totally oppose their message. Okay, they know that. After all these debates, there's no doubt about that. I keep saying that this message that has come to define this party is a bad message. A message of continuing Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and other socialism and school vouchers, which are a socialist educational reform measure, taking over the government schools, which is a socialist system, immigration controls, which is a socialist principle based on central planning, regulatory reform, healthcare reform. My opponents know that I stand against them on this. But in the process of this campaign, we've all gotten to be friends. And there's been a mutual respect that's been developed among us. We disagree on the debate stage, but off the debate stage, there's a camaraderie that's been formed and a mutual respect. And I think they feel the same way about me that I feel about them. And I mean, there's jokes that take place. I'll go up on the debate stage and one of them will turn to me and say, "Are you going to grace us with your presence even though we're reformistas?" I said, "Well, yeah, I guess I will. It's going to be a hard thing to do." And so there's bantering that takes place. But I respect these guys. I disagree with their message, but they're very good at delivering the reform message. They're as good as anybody else in this movement at delivering the message of reform. I disagree with it, but they're good at it, and I respect them for it. They don't deserve that kind of statement from McCarthy. In fact, it's my conviction that I think they deserve, everybody in this party deserves, to be in that debate. We've all fought for this thing. We've all fought state convention to state convention. And they've got this debates fundraising scheme for the party that is designed to exclude. This is a bad, but it's part of the circus. You see, it's all part of the circus. And I'll get to that in a minute. But there, it shows you McCardle's attitude and mindset, because she's thinking about, we need a big name, prestige, and so forth as a candidate. And well, of course, pop in Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Ooh, goo-goo eyes. He's got a big name, Jacob. Oh my gosh, he's prestigious. He's famous. Ludicrous. But it turns out that at Freedom Fest last year, McCardle has this meeting with Kennedy. We don't know what was discussed there. I don't think it's ever been revealed. But the meeting itself was undisclosed. I was at Freedom Fest. And I did a mock trial on open borders. I advocated open borders. We won it. Me and Brian Kaplan and our defense attorney, and the jury acquitted us on a jury nullification because we said, yeah, you darn right we favor open borders, and here's why. And the jury came in and acquitted us. And then I did a presentation on the Kennedy assassination that was full house. And then Book TV from C-SPAN interviewed me on my latest book on the Kennedy assassination, An Encounter with Evil. So I was there and I saw McCardle there, but I didn't know about this meeting with Kennedy. And but it goes along with this notion that, we need a big name, goo-goo eyes, Kennedy. So that's important to keep in mind here as we go to a circus where the opponents of the Libertarian Party, an independent running for president and a Republican running for president, are speaking at our convention. This is really weird. Seeking our votes. They're giving them a platform to seek our votes when we're nominating a candidate who's going to be running against these guys. Kind of weird. All right. So if we jump over to the California convention, we get a prelude to this circus, because that was pretty much a circus too. Now, the convention there was run by a guy named Adrian Malagon. He was a state party chairman, and he's part of the Libertarian Party hierarchy. In fact, he was in charge of the convention in D.C. that has become the circus. And for some reason, he's no longer in charge. I don't know what happened. They've never disclosed it. But the mindset that he has is the same as McCardle's. It's the same thing, because he organized a convention there that says, we don't want to hear from most of the Libertarian Party presidential candidates. We're going to limit our debate to 2 candidates. The first 2 that get you $3,000 in. And the rest of you, we're going to shunt you aside to a debate after the convention's over. This is really weird, because we're supposed to be listening to all the candidates to determine who is the best candidate to represent the positions and the philosophy of this party to the American people, right? I mean, that's the whole idea of having these debates and these conventions and the presentations and so forth. It's like, how do we make this decision? But this guy is saying, no, we're shutting you guys aside, which is sort of McCardle's mindset that, you know, the candidates are horse dung in this party, that they don't count. And so Malagon gets the donation, $3,000 from Michael Rechtenwald and from Mike Tremont. So there's going to be a two-person debate up there. The rest of them are shunted aside to after the convention's over. Side debate. Now, this is kind of strange, you see, because all the conventions I've attended, all the other ones, everybody's always very grateful. I mean, it's been a phenomenal experience. Thank you, Jacob, for coming, and thank you, to everybody, all the candidates. There's always this thanks, this gratitude. Thank y'all for coming, and we're grateful too, because they've put together these forums, these debates, stages, microphones. That I've run conferences. I know this costs money. They have dinners. A lot of times they treated us to dinner. Just extremely nice, and we're grateful. They're grateful. It's a mutual gratitude. It's thank you and thank you, and because they understand we're all in this together. That to nominate the candidate who is best going to represent this party and his views and his positions, you got to hear the candidates. They understand this. Okay? This is not the mindset of Adrian Malagon. His mindset was, no, you guys are shunted aside. We're going to have the first two candidates got their money in, pay or play, and Rechtenwald and Mike Tremont. So it's going to be a two-person debate. Except that we've got the Circus brewing here in California. It's going to be a three-person debate. Which of the other candidates are they going to let in of the Libertarians? None. The third debater is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, this guy's running for president as an independent. He's in the debate at the Libertarian Party Presidential Nominating Convention. We're not permitted to be in that debate, the six of us. But the guy who's not running for president of the Libertarian Party is in the debate with two of the Libertarian Party presidential candidates. When I say that this is a circus, I mean this is a circus. I mean this is really bizarre, weird stuff. And they say, oh, Jacob's bringing us publicity. Publicity for what? That you're letting the enemy opponent into your camp and soliciting your voters and interfering with your debate process for libertarians? This is bizarre. This is a friggin' one-ring circus here. So they have the debate, then they have a side debate after the convention's over. But here you have the prelude for the circus that's coming to D.C. So, because it's this mindset that candidates don't matter, you see, the Libertarian Party, because they're not big names like Gary Johnson and who brought a lot of publicity. It's a two-term governor, and Bill Weld, another governor. So when they say, oh, we need publicity, well, publicity doesn't necessarily get you votes, all right? So, especially if it's a bad message, what difference does it make on the publicity? Well, so now they come up with this debate contest, fundraising for the party, where the mindset's the same as Malagon, is his mindset, that we're only going to let 5 Libertarian Party presidential candidates be in the debate at the convention. Like, really weird stuff. Because we're all vying for the nomination. This is the featured event, the National Convention, where the delegates get to hear everybody to make a reasoned judgment as to who should be the nominee for this party. But the mindset is the Malagon mindset. No, we're not going to permit all of you to do this. It's only those of you that are good at raising money for the party. Now, I ask you, where is the relationship between raising money for the party and the best presidential candidate to represent the party? There is no correlation here. I mean, I'm the second largest fundraiser for the campaigns in terms of outside donations. I mean, that to me is a better marker than raising money for the party, but they desperately need the money. But it doesn't matter who the 3 are that are excluded, because none of them matter anyway, because of what McCardle's and Malagon's mindset is. They're just horse dung. They don't have the prestige like a Donald Trump or a Robert Kennedy Jr. You see, so they've got this fundraising contest, and of course I wasn't going to participate in this because I have been extremely disappointed with what's going on in this party. When McCardle blamed the party's problems on the presidential candidates, I responded to her. I said, you're looking for a scapegoat. You need to take responsibility. You and the party hierarchy need to take responsibility, because they are the ones responsible. Because they came into Reno and they were promising to restore the original principles of this party. And I got excited over that because they had endorsed me 3 years ago. And they knew what my positions were. Open borders, abolish Social Security and Medicare immediately, lead America in the restoration of faith and free markets and voluntary charity, legalize all drugs, dismantle the national security state, restore a limited government republic, open borders. I've held these positions for years. I mean, you can go back to 34 years of my work at the Future of Freedom Foundation. They knew these were my positions. They endorsed me 3 years ago. The Mises Caucus did. So I naturally assumed that when they promise at the Reno Reset Convention that they're going to restore the original principles of the party, I'm excited. Yes, this is what the party needs to restore the brand of principled libertarianism. Immediately after the Reno Reset, I bought a lifetime membership. I was so excited about this. Immediately, they recruit 2 Republicans that were running for State House to run as libertarians. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You're just continuing the right-wing image of the party. Gary Johnson, Bill Weld, Bob Barr, what are you doing? And their answer was, oh, we vetted them. They're libertarians. Are you kidding me? One was an enthusiastic, ardent supporter of Donald Trump, the guy that's now in charge of one of the rings in the circus, that's been invited to be the ringleader in one of the rings of the circus in D.C. in 2 weeks. Big Trumpster. And then it hits me. They honestly believe that these are libertarians. They don't have any doubts. And it's like, oh my gosh. And then right after that, they have a fundraising event. The LNC does, Libertarian National Committee. They're in Virginia, where I live, and they invite me to where they have big donors there. They advertise a big donor fundraiser. They've got a guy named Corey DeAngelis giving the featured talk advocating school vouchers. Well, school vouchers are nothing more than a socialist reform measure. They violate the libertarian non-aggression principle. They were imported from the Republican Party. They use taxation to take money from one group of people and give it to another group of people. And I'm saying, oh my gosh. And they're doing this before big donors, and they wonder today why they're having trouble getting donations. Who's going to donate with big money to a party that's taking the Republican-like position on education, when the freedom position is separate education and the state? Just get government out of education entirely. That's who they should have had there. A speaker making that case. But no, they didn't have this. And I'm sitting there saying, and then, they send out a fundraising letter immediately. The LNC, the National Party hierarchy, support us so that we can advocate school vouchers. And of course, I'm not going to donate to that. And then they just recently sent out another fundraiser. We want to take over the public school system so we can show America that we can run this socialist institution better than Democrats and Republicans. Well, they didn't use the word socialism, but it is a socialist institution. And they're raising money for that. I'm not going to donate to that. So when they have this debate fundraising contest, by this time I am deeply disappointed with the whole shebang. And to me, this is why the party's having trouble, because their message is one built on sand. They move left to Robert Kennedy. They go goo-goo eyes over him. He's a big government welfare, state-loving, Democrat, gun-grabbing guy who praises communist China and communist Cuba, and then they veer right and they go goo-goo eyes over Donald Trump because he's a fierce advocate of immigration controls, which is their favorite obsessive position. I mean, they're willing to overlook everything Trump has done to destroy liberty in this country, the drug war, the support of the national security state, keeping troops in Afghanistan, refusing to pardon Trump, Snowden, and I guess that was a Freudian slip. Snowden and Assange and Ulbricht, when he had a chance to do so, when he was pardoning all his little personal cronies before he left office, and keeping the CIA's records on the Kennedy assassination secret, bowing to them, kissing their ring. The right-wing proponents in our party and those in the party hierarchy are willing to overlook all that, because in their minds, Trump's immigration position trumps everything, if you'll pardon the expression. It trumps everything. And that's why they're looking at him with goo-goo eyes. And, oh, thank you, Mr. Trump, for coming to speak at our convention and so forth. Because of his fierce advocacy of immigration controls. And where does it, of course, get the Libertarian Party? It gets us nowhere. Nowhere. That's where it's 0 to 1%. And keep that in mind, because it's important to understand what's going on the surface. For over a year now, I've been saying we're at 0 to 1%. We already know the results in November. Voter sentiment's not going to change. We had 1.1% 3 years ago. It's now at probably about 0.5%. And voter sentiment's gotten worse. So this fantasy of, oh, Jacob, they hate Democrats and Republicans, they hate Biden and Trump, they're going to default to us. The polls are saying no. People are saying, no matter how much we may hate Trump and Biden, we're not voting for your message. And as I've told convention after convention, I'm with them. I'm with the 99% who reject this message. And now it's over 99%. They're right to reject this message because it is not a message of freedom. It is a message of libertarian socialism and serfdom reform. And that cannot lead America to freedom. And so I oppose this message, and so do the voters. And so the number is not going to change in November if we continue doing what we're doing and sending out the same message that we've been sending out 20 years. As I've told convention after convention, if we want to get big numbers, and we can, there's no doubt in my mind, we can get to 10 to 15%. We have to change our message to one of principled libertarianism, which is what I'm advocating. And number two, change our targeted voters. Don't target Republicans anymore. Don't target Democrats. Don't target mainstream voters. Change totally the target. Run a guerrilla campaign that targets migrant families with open borders, making the competent case for open borders. Target black voters on the racial bigotry of the drug war, as well as occupational licensure, especially in the southern states. It's all Jim Crow. There's no question about it, both the licensure and the drug war. And target people who don't vote, who recognize that there's not a dime's worth of difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Whichever one you vote for, you're going to get the same thing. Now that infuriates the right wing in our party, the ones that are inviting Trump, because they see Trump as kind of an idol. Oh no, goo-goo eyes, goo-goo eyes. And he's not. There's no difference between Biden and Trump. When you look at it from my perspective, the perspective of real, genuine, original founding libertarian principles. From their perspective, when they see, libertarians as Republicans, then yeah, they get insulted that Trump's like Biden because they see Trump as a libertarian. And it's not the first time you see this. You had libertarians supporting Trump in 2016 and 2020. They were saying Trump's a libertarian, Jacob, he's a libertarian. And when they're inviting him to our convention, goo-goo eyes, they're looking at him as a libertarian, primarily because of his immigration control system. But it's not the first time. There was a Republican named Blake Masters that was running for U.S. Senate in Arizona, and you had Libertarian Party members endorsing him and saying he's a libertarian, Jacob, he's a libertarian. They were supporting him over the Libertarian Party member who ultimately threw in the towel because he was one of these Republican-like candidates. He says, well, yeah, I guess there's not any difference between Blake Masters and me, so I guess I'll drop out. And there wasn't any difference, because this libertarian label that they've put on Republican light is the mirror image of a Republican candidate. But this is why we're at 0.05% or whatever, because if people are given a choice between voting for a real Republican, and Donald Trump's the real Republican, he's the real enchilada when it comes to immigration controls, versus a light Republican, who are they going to vote for? It's a no-brainer. They're always going to vote for the original Republican. If they favor reform, they're going to vote for the Republican. Republicans favor reform too. And so in order to achieve a breakout, you have to change your message to one of original principled libertarianism, which the party hierarchy hates. They loathe what I stand for, okay? Because they stand for Republican-like principles. But if you restore your brand of principled libertarianism and change your targeted votes, you see, they say, oh, well, this can't get votes. among Republicans, they're right. Republicans loathe, and so do Republican lights. They loathe genuine libertarian principles like open borders. But if you change your targeted audience, like Hispanic, migrant families, make the competent case for open borders, now you're looking at a breakout in the vote totals. And black voters, based on the drug war being the most racially bigoted government program since segregation, people who don't vote, the poor people in society, the people are being ravaged by inflation. They will vote for us if we make the case for sound money, real sound money, the separation of money in the state, just like Hayek called for. You tell him a Nobel laureate has called for this system, the separation of money in the state. Now you're talking about a major breakout, and this is the only way to short circuit the circus and what they've done with this convention. They've turned it into the Trump Kennedy circus, because their mindset is, we're not going to do well in November anyway. Okay, they've even thrown Rechtenwald, their endorsee of the Mises Institute, under the bus here. They know that I'm right. That if you nominate any other 7 guys, you're going to get 0.5%. Your only shot at achieving a breakout is my strategy. Restoring the brand of principled libertarianism, changing your targeted votes, and now you're looking to a breakout of 10 to 15%. Okay, and they know this, and so they're assuming that one of the 7 is going to be nominated, and therefore November is irrelevant, 0.5%. So this gets us to what's going on underneath the surface here. Clearly, just my opinion, but it's a well-reasoned opinion. They are angling for positions in the Trump administration. That's what's going on here. That's why the catering to Trump. That's why the invitation to Trump. Mr. Trump, please come and address our convention. Please, sir. And they're going to feed his ego. Oh, you're just wonderful, and we want you to address our convention, and we want you to first-class treatment. They are angling for positions in the Trump administration, and I have no doubts Trump will promise it to them. And so they're going to. So let's say Trump gets elected, they will leave the Libertarian Party and assume positions, most likely in the immigration field, immigration and customs enforcement, or customs and border control, border patrol. They'll get high positions in Washington, and they'll be prestigious. See, it really worked. That we were so nice to Trump, we helped him win, and now libertarians, the first time ever, are populating the Trump administration, the presidential administration. That's what's going on here. I have absolutely no doubts about it. And in the aftermath of this, the Libertarian Party is left an empty carcass with no soul left at all, except maybe a right-wing taint to it. And I mean, this is why I think we call these people the carcass caucus. You have caucuses in the LP. This is the carcass caucus, because their mindset is nothing's going to happen in November anyway with these lackluster candidates, what Ricardo was saying and what Malagón was saying, and it's just now become a big joke. This is the circus, where the sideshow has become the Libertarian Party candidates. No need to pay any attention to them. Only have the big fundraisers in the debate. The big show, the big ring in the circus, the 2-ring circus is Kennedy and Trump. Because maybe, just maybe, we can get positions in the Trump administration. That's what's going on here. And the only way out of this is to run a campaign, run my kind of campaign. And that's what I'm advocating for this party. To treat these people for who they are. Trump, Kennedy, Biden, and their Democratic, Republican, independent ilk as the great destroyers of freedom. They have destroyed our freedom in this country. That's what we've got to remember. They have invited these destroyers of freedom to come into our nominating convention and turn it into a circus. That's what they've done. And the only way out of this is to restore the brand of principled libertarianism, because then the party is now sitting on a foundation of rock instead of sand. A sand foundation where you go left and you get goo-goo eyes over the left-wing candidate, and you move right and you go goo-goo eyes over the right-wing candidate. But now you got a foundation built on rock, on our principles. We go into battle against these people. We don't idolize them. We don't cater to them. We don't honor them. We go into battle against them. And we show our fellow Americans that they have destroyed this country, and they're continuing to destroy this country. And what are our weapons in this battle? Our weapons are our principles. Our principles are our greatest asset. I've said that at every single convention. These are our weapons with which we go into battle against the statists that have destroyed our freedom in this country, and our prosperity, and our harmony, and our well-being. And we treat them for what they are, the destroyers of American society. We don't honor them. We don't idolize them. We don't invite them to come and speak at our conventions. We take them on. And that's what I want to do as a presidential candidate for this party, is take these people on and lead America to freedom. That's our job in this party, to lead America to freedom. And we're not going to get there by running a convention that's a circus that in which our opponents, the enemies of freedom, are featured in the big 2-ring circus and maybe the 3-ring circus. We restore the Libertarian Party as the party of principle. We restore the brand of principle libertarianism, and we go into battle on a foundation that's built on rock. And then we start getting support, because people say, hey, this is really great stuff. This is a party that adheres to its principles and is showing America how to get out of this morass of socialism and interventionism and imperialism and statism, and is exposing the other candidates for what they are and what they stand for. This is what we need to do in this party to lead America to freedom, and to achieve at the same time a major breakout in votes with our principles. I'm Jacob Hornberger, Libertarian candidate for president. My campaign website is Jacob for Liberty.